Welcome to the Respect the Ranch podcast for March 2011. I'm Scott Bailey. Modeled after the Chicago public radio show This American Life, our monthly podcast is built around a theme that explores that theme through stories, interviews, and art by RBV staff and students. Our podcast this March celebrates Women's History Month. So our special podcast in 4 acts. In Act 1, a student essay by an RBV senior about what it means to be a woman. In Act 2, we ask the young daughters of RBV staff members a question, the answers to which will stay with you for quite a while. In Act 3, an interview with an RBV social studies teacher about the power of teaching, the dangers of Siberia, and the feminine mystique. And finally, Act 4, a poem by Maya Angelou, read by over 25 women at Rancho. All this to come on our Respect the Ranch podcast celebrating Women's History Month for March 2011. Let's get started. Act 1. RBV senior Harper Cleaves has had a lot of success here at Rancho. As an IB student and a member of record-breaking cross-country and track teams, she's no stranger to taking on difficult tasks. We took advantage of her love of a good challenge and received this essay about what she enjoys about being a young woman.
It's a complicated question. Why do I enjoy being a woman? To all of those who think otherwise, especially those of the male persuasion, let me assure you, this is no easy question to answer. I know I should be rejoicing at the tremendous progress women have made throughout history. I am supposed to take pleasure in considering that I, as a young woman myself, am reaping the benefits of these advancements. But despite all of this, I often find that my first thoughts are geared much more towards cynicism. I find myself thinking sarcastically, why do I love being a woman? Well, of course, I love being a woman because of the double standards, because I have to take effort to look nice every morning, being valued more for my appearance than for my brains. But most of all, I love being a woman because I'm expected to squeeze a human being out of my body without complaining. But as I thought on it more, I found I had completely oversimplified what it means to be a woman. I had overlooked the qualities that I cherish both in other women and myself. Because yes, women do face challenges, as will any group, but women also have something unique and special to bring to the table, and I had completely let that slip away from me. First and foremost, women have the ability to emote. As a woman, I can, if I so choose, wear my heart completely on my sleeve. I can reveal my worries, concerns, and tribulations to my closest friends and family. I can cry while talking to a friend, or watching a sad movie, or when I am just frustrated or upset. And while some might chalk this up to being weakness or oversensitivity, or my personal favorite, just a product of it being that time of the month, I think that it really is much deeper than all of that. Women are in tune with their emotions. They are open and they are nurturing. When I am upset and I cry, I find that I move on from that problem in a healthy way. I release my emotions as they come, instead of hoarding them inside of me. Now, this is not to say that men are incapable of this kind of emotional release, or that even all women are capable of it. I am speaking in generalities here, of course. I think that the difference is that women can express their emotion without having their sexuality questioned. Boys are taught from a young age to be the picture of strength. They are instilled with the maxim, there's no crying in baseball, starting at about 5 years old, and this idea never really leaves them. And while emotional control definitely does have a time and a place, I sincerely believe this does not mean every time and every place. Women create an open environment for emotional release, and this allows for long-lasting bonds of love and friendship. Men, on the other hand, are not always given access to this sort of emotional luxury. I also love that women have the freedom to be outrageous. I know that I complained earlier that women are made to feel that they must wear makeup and do their hair and shave their legs and wear pretty clothes, and I stand by that. But women also can do all of these things. I could show up to school tomorrow wearing a bright pink dress without causing a huge uproar. I could wear high heels for weeks on end if I wanted. I could keep my hair long or cut it short, and I would be no less feminine than I was before. For men, this is not necessarily the case. And while I do sometimes envy the ability of the male gender to show up to school looking as though they had just rolled out of bed, pulled on a flannel, and still be considered cool, I don't envy the way in which they are limited to this sort of lifestyle. Because I don't care what anyone says, we don't treat a man with lipstick the same way we would treat a girl with lipstick. After all, the term guy liner did not arise out of an acceptance of men experimenting with makeup. Women are not as severely judged for taking on masculine characteristics. In fact, in many cases, being slightly androgynous is even stylish. Having short hair or wearing male-inspired clothing does not have the same tendency to call into question a woman's sexuality as it will for a man. So do I enjoy being a woman? I have found I can only really answer this question with a resounding yes. Of course, there are still hardships to be faced and still advances to be made, and I acknowledge this fact. There is definitely room for cynicism in considering what it means to be a woman, but there's also room for rejoicing, room to celebrate the ability of the female to be loud and strong and indignant, the ability to emote and be outrageous and unique. There are a lot of elements to being a woman that I would never trade anything for. Whether they are worth the pain of being expected to produce life, well, I will get back to you on that one.
RBV 12th grader Harper Cleaves and her essay on being a young woman. And now Act 2. We passed around our digital recorder to RBV staff members and had them record their daughters, who ranged from 8th grade to kindergarten. Their parents asked them the question, "What's the best thing about being a girl?"
Hello, my name is Samantha. The best part of being a girl is dressing up, because you get to dress up in princesses and fairies, and you can use crowns to put on and high heels and scarves.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and the best thing about being a girl is being able to love Justin Bieber.
Hi, my name is Maddie. The best thing about being a girl is our freedoms, because, we get skirts and pink and fashion and all that stuff. We get, but guys just kind of have football.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn. The best thing about being a girl is shoes, because I love to wear high heels. Hi, my name is Autumn. The best thing about being a girl is that you get to hang out with friends, because you get a chance to play games and do fun things. Hi, my name is Olivia. The best thing about being a girl is that we can be whatever we want to be, because a long time ago, girls had to do certain kinds of jobs and sports.
Hi, my name is Madeline. The best thing about being a girl is that you play softball because it's fun.
Hi, my name is Bess, and the best thing about being a girl is designing clothes, because you get to be a show off to everybody.
Hi, my name is Elise. The best thing about being a girl is the flexibility to be anything you want, because you could be girly or tough and it wouldn't matter.
Hi, my name is Casey, and I think the best thing about being a girl is shopping for clothes and wearing clothes, because I like all the different styles you can choose, all the different options, and I like looking cute.
Hi, I'm Kylie. I think the best thing about being a girl is being able to emote, because guys, they can't emote because of guy laws, but girls, they can get anything they're feeling off their chest.
Hi, my name is Emma. The best thing about being a girl is dancing, because you get to wear pretty dresses and you also have nice teachers while you're doing it. Hi, my name is Riley. The best thing what girls can do is making ice cream, and some boys don't and a lot of girls do. My name is Caitlin, and the best thing about being a girl is to have long hair because you can put it in ponytails.
What's the best thing about being a girl?
Dancing.
The young daughters of RBV staff members with their answers about what the best thing is about being a girl. And now Act 3. It has been a successful several years for former RBV Teacher of the Year Teri Gerent. Among the many awards and accolades she's been honored with, she recently received the California Senior Teacher of the Year for Social Studies Award, as well as the Golden Apple Award. Though she exudes a confidence and calm that is absolutely inspiring, we found out during a casual conversation with her that her path through school as a student, into the job world outside school, and back into school as a teacher was not a simple one. We sat down with her to talk about what led her to the profession she so dearly loves. I'm here with Teri Gerent. Teri, how are you?
I'm good.
How long have you been teaching at Rancho?
This is my 7th year.
7th year at this school?
Yes.
Were you at a school before this?
Yeah, I was at Guahomie for 6 years before this.
So you've been teaching, were you anywhere before Guahomie?
No.
So this is your 13th year teaching?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Second career. I love it.
What were you before? Oh, I want you to know that halfway through this interview, I'm going to take off my shoes and I'll interview barefoot.
Okay.
Because I want you to be
okay.
Because I want you to be comfortable.
Okay.
Okay. So you were at so Guahomie, 13 years you've been teaching, and that teaching's really your second career.
Yes.
And before you were an administrative assistant.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, for about 20 years.
20 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is a lifetime for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it? I mean, 20 years in one career. There must have been something interesting.
That seemed to be my destination in life. That's what I was told, so I really tried to make the best of it. And about 17 years into it, I just was still not happy. So
You were in a job that you didn't like for 17 years,
yes.
but you try to be positive about it. Is that what you're
Yes.
telling me?
Yes.
But you also said that you were told.
Yes. Well,
What is it?
when I was in school in the 70s, 60s and 70s, you were pretty much told before you got into high school what it was. You had the strands where you were either going to be college prep. College prep was college prep. It was like the AP and IB. They didn't have that back then. Otherwise, it was vocational. I took all the secretarial classes. I took shorthand and typing and business machines and business math, the low-end science, the low-end math, because the expectation was, and this is my mom's quote, you'll have something to fall back on in case your marriage doesn't work out. And meanwhile, my brother was in the college prep, so that was the expectation for me.
So when you say you were told by the school, by the designation, the track you were put on, or you were told
Yes.
by your family?
I was told by my family, but my mom was the one that kind of charted out my schedule.
So your mom really believed in that then? I mean, if she's choosing those
Yes.
courses, she really believed that.
She thought that because I had a learning disability that was undiagnosed.
What's the learning disability?
Dyslexia.
Oh, okay.
And so people just thought, well, she's not very academic.
And the code for that is she's not smart.
Right.
When they say she's
the
not
code
academic,
for that is she's pretty stupid.
You're right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. So she could do this. This will give her a skill so that she has something to fall back on. My mom had been a single mom at a time when families weren't broken. And
in the 60s and 70s, it was a rarity.
Yeah, beginning in 1958. That's when they got divorced.
Oh.
And so she really felt that she was doing me a service by giving me a skill.
So the intention there, it's coming from a good place. She really
Yes.
does feel like she was really looking out for your future.
Preparing me, yeah.
Uh-huh. So you're 17 years into your job as a secretary, as an administrative assistant. They were probably called secretaries then.
They were
yes?
called secretaries,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, at that year 17, what was the trigger? What was the thing where you said, wait a minute, they told me this thing that isn't lining up with...
I was working in the city manager's office in Carlsbad. Very nice job. And I was sitting at my desk and it just occurred to me, I was 35 or 37, I guess. And I thought, I can't do this any longer. I don't see me retiring from here doing this. And it was a good job and it was an easy job and I liked the people I worked with, but I was I was broken inside. And I really, it's kind of like the feminine mystique where it's like you can't really put a name to it. You don't know what it is.
It just is.
It just is. And
but recognizing a thing that is, it doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Well, my grandfather had died. And so I had, he was like my dad. And I couldn't stop crying for 3 months. And so I went into therapy, and I found that there was this profound sadness.
Yeah.
And that was just sort of the catalyst or the opportunity that let me know how sad I was.
What did your grandfather think of you being an administrative assistant and secretary?
He was born in 1908, and I mean had 8 children during the Great Depression, so you did what you did, whatever you could.
Yeah.
And so he really encouraged everybody to get those civil service types of jobs so that you have the benefits and the pension and all that.
Your eyes they got a little wet while you're talking about him. So it's still right there, huh? Mm-hmm. Wow. Lucky for you that you had that kind of person in your life.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I personally, I can't get through a school year without having several deaths of people who are important to my students. Mm-hmm. Are you able to maybe connect with them a little bit more quickly when you notice that in your class? Do you find that they can recognize that because it's so raw on you even after all these years? Do you find that you're a place that they go?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I do try to provide those opportunities so that they know that you can get through difficult times. I wanted to be a teacher since I was 7, and I had just started 2nd grade, and I loved 1st grade. And my uncle asked me, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a teacher. And that year was the beginning of disaster. I had a first-year teacher who couldn't control the class, and I didn't learn anything. And then every year I sat at the table with the group. And you knew who you were.
It's the capital T, the table.
Yeah,
and they're the kids that were underperforming or
you knew who you were because you recognized everybody at the table with you. And I had a really hard time adjusting to middle school, like really hard time. You had to be in a different room at a different time, and as a result I had 3 incompletes, and one of them was in social studies. And to make up your incomplete, you had to go to a separate room at a different time, which was really the reason that I had the incomplete to begin with. And so I walked in, and the teacher, I looked around, and it's like, they're not the C kids. And the teacher stood up and said, this is B class, not C class. Then she threw a book at me and hit me in the head.
Stop it.
Yes. And mortified, and parents didn't say anything. They didn't take any kind of action back then. Okay, so I'm pretty much up to here with school. And then 8th grade, this is at Valley Junior High in Carlsbad. 8th grade, I walked in and Mr. Smith said, you sit at the table in the back of the room. And it was called Siberia. And none of us knew. It's 40 years ago this year. None of us knew what Siberia was.
But did you know what Siberia was? Do you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't know literally what Siberia is, but you knew.
Oh, yes. When I sat at the table, it's like, well, here we are again.
Right.
And he told us, I have to work with this other group who was probably the USA, I don't know. And so he told us he wouldn't be able to work with us and gave us the packets. Well, by the end of the year, it's like April, he was asking a question, and somebody at our group, our table, knew the answer, and we're like, oh my God, he's a genius. And he's raising his hand, and Mr. Smith turned around and said, we don't want to hear from the table at Siberia. And I just thought it was so mean, and so I told my mom at dinner that night, and she's in the middle of taking a bite, and she puts her fork down and says, you sit at a table called Siberia. And she started crying, so I knew it was really bad. And so by the time it's 9th grade, it's like, I don't want to teach.
Yeah.
I hate history. And so I like to bring that into the very beginning of the year so that those kids that are struggling, maybe they wanted to be a teacher too. Mm-hmm. And everything in their experience thus far has been counter to that. But I sat at that segregated table, and I'm a teacher, and I love it, and I love history. Yeah. So,
would you describe yourself as a feminist?
I would describe myself as somebody who believes in social justice. I think that that's part of it, that everybody should have equal access, equal opportunity, and equality. So if that comes under that heading, then I would say that I am. But I think one of the things that I disagreed with when the Equal Rights Amendment, I mean, I was still in high school, but when women were criticized for staying at home, working inside the home, I thought that that was wrong. Because if you really believe that it's a choice, that a woman should have a choice to work inside the home, outside the home, or to juggle both, then she should be honored for the decision that she makes, the choice that she makes. And I thought that that was short-sighted of the feminist movement.
A couple of your friends that I've talked to, they've had some interesting things to say about you. One is Elsie Gary Simpson. And she was telling me a story about, she came into teaching a little as a second career as well, and you both went back to school around the same time, Is that right? And she was absolutely shocked that you didn't see yourself as being very smart.
Oh.
Would you agree that that's how you saw yourself on that transition?
I still do.
What do you mean you still think that, what does that mean?
Sometimes I'll think, wow, like when I wrote the class.
What class?
The elective class. Oh, this is when I thought, I must be kind of smart, because I showed it to Keith Grauman.
Yeah, who's the social studies department chair.
And I showed him the scope and sequence, and
well,
he went through.
What's the name of the class?
A socio-political history of rock and roll.
Okay. Wow, what a big name. You must be smart.
But Keith went through and he said, okay, well, I would italicize this part and I would do this. And then he said, this is outstanding. And I thought, oh my God, he said outstanding.
Yeah, because he's a smart guy himself.
Because he's really smart.
And his only criticism is something, this should be italicized
like, you
or
need
bold.
To, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the content itself impressed him,
yes.
Is that right?
And when he said that, I thought, I must be a little bit smart.
Now, that was just, that class has only been here how long now?
This is third year.
The third year?
Yeah, it's the second year I've taught it, but I got it passed 3.5 years ago.
Okay, but you've been teaching for 13 years, so you can't tell me that for 10 years you're thinking, all right, actually, I'm not very smart.
I'll have moments of thinking, okay, well, I must be a little bit smart, because to do this, you would have to be. But in moments of weakness and self-doubt, it's like, I'm at that table.
It's hard to get out of Siberia once you're there.
Yeah.
Do you see anything, do you see students sitting in your classroom, girls in particular? Because I would imagine it's not like you don't care about the boys, but girls in particular, can you recognize pretty quickly if they think they're in Siberia themselves?
Yeah. The first day I have them fill out an information sheet about themselves so that I can find out not just what books they read, what movies they see, but what kind of music they like, what are the first things that come to mind when they think of history. So there are things like that give me kind of an idea of who this person is. List 3 really interesting things about yourself. And so that tells me a little bit, and then I just kind of follow cues.
So do you find that you spend a little bit more time thinking about those particular girls? Do you know what I'm saying? Just because you can relate to them so quickly?
Yeah. I try to know something about everybody in the class, something that either I pick up from those information sheets or I'll find out at the beginning of the year, okay, who likes football? Mm-hmm. Okay, who are the Raiders fans?
Yeah.
Okay, because I like the Chargers and the 49ers. And then we'll have little,
And that probably has a direct effect on their grade.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin.
You actually looked at his chair. I bet he sits right there.
He does. He sits right there,
yeah.
My thing is I want them to feel safe, and I want to treat them with the same respect I would if their parents were in the room, because that's how I would want my children treated in the classroom. I would want their teachers to offer them the same respect. So I try to find something that makes it clear that it matters that they're here. There's a reason that they come to school every day, and I look forward to seeing them every day.
That's a pretty successful combination of traits, somebody who's smart and respects people for who they are. And you've actually been honored for that, right? And I'm going to make you name the award. You were recently given an award just this year, right? What are you looking around for?
I got this from the superintendent today, and it has the name of it. That's why, because I don't think I would remember it.
Oh, the actual certificate.
Yeah. The 2011 Senior High School Teacher of the Year for Social Studies.
That's not just for the district.
No, that's for the state.
The state of California? It's a big state, Teri. What, I mean, especially now knowing a little bit about where you started.
Right.
It's a remarkable thing. I mean, what a journey,
Yeah. The first thing I thought of was 40 years. Yeah. 40 years ago, I sat at that table.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that'll be next weekend.
The award ceremony?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to speak?
They introduce you and you get up to speak.
How are you feeling about the speech?
Actually, the first thing that goes through my mind is there's so many amazing social studies teachers. There's some embarrassment, like why would I be picked? And
probably because the course proposal had italicized sections. Yeah,
thank God Mr. Grumman told me to do that. For me, it was kind of embarrassing because I think why would I get this when there's so many amazing people at this site and then in this district, and then I think about the entire state. So that's the first thing that I think of. But then I thought about that little girl that sat at that table, and if she knew then what would be happening in 40 years, she would never believe it.
So you must feel really proud of that. I mean, it represents a success that probably you never imagined.
I'm very proud.
Yeah.
My mom's going to be there too.
She is?
She's
oh
coming
my
down.
Gosh, she must feel so proud.
I know. She's coming down from Oregon.
Before I let you go, a quick question. One of the earlier acts that we're going to have on this podcast, I ask the questions of the daughters of faculty members here, right? What's the best thing about being a girl? And I'm curious, how do you think the kids sitting at the table all those years back would have answered that question, what's the best thing about being a girl? That Teri.
I don't think that she would have thought that it was a good thing because her brother was so smart and, outshone her. I think that she would have thought it was more of a handicap.
Really?
Mm-hmm. My mom was a single mom and, it just seemed like it was harder. It was more of a hardship to be a woman.
What about the girl who's going to be giving a speech here next weekend? How do you think she'd answer that question?
Probably that it's okay to show emotion more than men. Like you can get away with it more, I guess, unless you're John Boehner.
I knew you'd drop something political in at some point.
I think it's awesome too, and I don't know if I want this to be on there, but like to have a baby. I think that that's just amazing, but I don't want people to feel like, well, if I don't have a baby, am I not a woman?
Right.
Because I've had this discussion with my daughter when she asked me, will you be disappointed if I don't have kids? And I said, if I'm being honest, I'm going to say, yeah, for selfish reasons, but I would never want you to have a baby because I want you to have a baby, so I don't know if I want that to.
But it is a remarkable gift that women have, whether they choose to use it or not.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some women who are in situations where they can't, right?
Yeah.
But in general, it's a pretty remarkable.
It was life-changing for me.
Yeah.
It really was.
I don't want to take any of your time.
Okay.
Teri, Gerent, thanks for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey.
RBV Social Studies teacher Teri Gerent, articulate, thoughtful, inspiring, and of course, barefoot. And now Act 4. In honor of Women's History Month, we convinced over 25 RBV staff members to perform Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Woman.
Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies.
I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies.
I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips,
the stride of my step, the curl of my lips.
I'm a woman. Phenomenally?
Phenomenal woman, that's me.
I walk into a room just as cool as you please.
And to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees.
Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees.
I say, it's the fire in my eyes, and the flash of my teeth.
The swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman, that's me.
Men themselves have wondered what they see in me.
They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery.
But when I try to show them,
they say they still can't see. I say it's in the arch of my back, the sun in my smile, the right of my breast, the grace of my style.
I'm a woman, phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman. That's me.
Now you understand just why my head's not bowed.
I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud.
When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud.
I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair,
the palm of my hand, the need of my care.
'Cause I'm a woman.
Phenomenally.
Phenomenal woman. That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
RBV staff members reading Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman. How cool was that? And that once again does it for our March 2011 Respect the Ranch podcast. Thanks again to RBV student Harper Cleaves, the young daughters of RBV teachers, the over 25 female staff members who read Angelou's poem, as well as RBV social studies teacher Teri Gerent for participating. Our original music was created by RBV teacher Nick Wheat and RBV senior Stephen Gomez. As always, we need your help, so send us feedback, give us leads on powerful stories, or contribute in any way you can. You can email our team at rtrpodcast@gmail.com. That's rtrpodcast, one word, @gmail.com. So until May, I'm Scott Bailey, thanking you for listening to the Respect the Ranch podcast from Rancho Buena Vista High School. Hook 'em horns.
Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Did I say it right? You're going to have to do like 500 takes with me.